to my beautiful master bedroom remodel part 2. It's been about 2 or 3 days since we gutted the whole room and I actually started putting in the floor from the hallway. I had Kyle fix all of the squeaky spots and then he sanded. Then I went through the whole room and vacuumed up as much of the sawdust as I could. Today I'm going to try and get more work done because I did put in my order for IKEA stuff and that should be coming in a few days. And I need somewhere to put all of that because right now everything's in the guest room still. So I have to figure out how to take off the banister in the hallway because that's in the way of me getting the flooring into the bedroom. Kyle was going to help me, but I think he would spend too much time researching how to do it, whereas I'm just gonna YOLO it. And hopefully I don't break anything like the subfloor or the walls. I'm gonna do a quick Google search to try and figure out if there's anything I'm supposed to do before I try to remove it. I told Kyle I was just going to Spartan kick it off the wall, but then he said I might ruin the drywall, and drywall is honestly the worst thing that I have ever worked on. It's just not fun for me. It takes too much time, the mudding is awful, and it's messy to sand it, and I would just really like to avoid doing that, even though I will probably have to do some because I'm pretty sure that's like glued onto the drywall. So it turns out that I'm supposed to use a type of pry bar to get the base plate off, but in order to do that, I need to take off all the spindles. And I know that a few of them are already really loose and like easy to come off, but I think some of the other ones I might have to kind of just like hammer out. So it turns out that the other post is part of the subfloor. I think we're gonna have to try and rip up the subfloor, which means I have to undo the last row of planks that I did so that we can unscrew the subfloor and take it up. Hopefully it's not like a structural thing and it's not supporting like the stairs or anything, but that definitely adds a lot more work for us to try and take off this last piece of the banister. So in a shocking turn of events, the post is way deep into the subfloor and we've already ruined 2 sections of it. So in order to avoid ruining even more of it, we're just going to saw the whole thing off. And Kyle's gonna have the honors of doing that because I don't want to ruin it myself. What is your plan?
Detach screws from this side and this side, but I think there's one overlapping this, or possibly coming from this side. We can't take up this subfloor because it goes into the walls. And we could cut a square here to do like they did here, like portholes, but I think it's going to be easier if we cut the top off, and then we can take this and just cut the screws off, get it out. But the floor here, I'm going to have to come up at an angle to not cut this floor. I'm just gonna start cutting.
Do we think he can do it, ladies and gentlemen? We'll find out.
So I could cut with this and just go in, but it would take forever. This is the better tool for it, but like I can get flush with that. I think this would take all night to go with that. Glasses? Can't do that because the end's gonna hit. I have to come from this angle, I think. I don't want to hit this drywall. We're not in a safe spot. Going all right. My arms are numb.
Why'd you cut it so close to the base?
Because well, we need to this.
I know.
Right? So,
I know.
Well, I guess I just get it off and then I can go down, right?
That's what I thought you were doing.
Well then shit, I could have just done a straight shot.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing here.
Oh,
Well then I should just come from this side.
oh my god.
Because I know this side's okay.
We got it all removed. It was a literal disaster because problem after problem kept happening. But we finally got this post out. The unfortunate part is that now we have to figure out how to install the new post on this side if we're going to do it in the subfloor how they had before because it is really stable that way, or if we're gonna try and do it on top of the subfloor with brackets holding it down. Kyle doesn't think it's strong enough to do it. I think it should be, but we'll sleep on it, we'll talk about it more and decide what we're gonna do. But that's pretty much all we can do for tonight because it is almost 10 o'clock and it took us probably like 3 hours to get this done. Tomorrow I will probably decide to do some painting in the walk-in closet because that's all I can muster right now, and also the only thing I can actually do, because since we don't have an idea of what we're doing with the post over here, I don't know if I'm actually able to lay down this floor, because it'll be a lot harder for me to kind of work around it if we do decide to do the post in the subfloor. We'll see what I get done tomorrow. Good morning, welcome back. So yesterday we did spend about 5 hours trying to move the banister. We started around 4 p.m. and then finished cleaning up around 9. Initially, I was really optimistic about the whole situation because I thought that normally when you remove a banister, you just have to unscrew the part that's connected to the wall as well as unscrewing the bottom board. That's not what we found, as you saw. But after 5 long hours, we finally have it figured out. Unfortunately, this means that it does delay my work replacing the vinyl planks, which means that I need to pivot my plan and work on all the things in the walk-in closet unrelated to the floor. Specifically, painting the rest of the bay window that I showed, which I'm really excited about. It's going to turn into this beautiful little reading nook for me. I know it's a little weird to have a reading nook inside of your closet, but I know some people who have their office in a closet, also known as a cloffice. So I'm going to go ahead and start painting some of the paneling because that does need to be all white before we put the floors in. Ideally, you want to paint the walls before you put any new floor in because it eliminates the risk of getting paint all over your new carpet or your new hardwood floors, which honestly would be a huge bummer. Okay, there's been a change of plans. So I finished painting one part of the paneling and it's mostly dry and I don't like how it looks. I stepped back and I kind of blocked out the other parts that are still brown and asked Kyle his opinion, and we both kind of agree that it looks too much like a nursery, which actually I think is what this room was originally for, because when we first bought the house, it was advertised as a bonus room. So my thought was to make it into a walk-in closet because that makes the most sense. But because I don't like how this looks, I'm gonna end up having to take all of this paneling off, which we have done before in the stairs as well as the entryway. It was something that was kind of difficult to do because we were trying not to damage the drywall. I think now that we kind of have done it before, we should be able to do it without making any huge mistakes. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is paint the rest of the bay window because most of that is actually going to stay. We're just removing the paneling around the perimeter of the room and right underneath the bay window. But the rest of the window can actually be painted white. So I might finish painting that area because I already have the supplies all out. And then afterwards, I will start prying all of this off. Hopefully I could be done today. So it took a little longer than I expected, but I finally got the entire bay window painted and it looks so much nicer. So now I can move on to actually getting rid of this paneling. I don't exactly remember how we did it when we removed it from the entryway because I think Kyle's mom was here to help us when we did that. From what I remember, I basically just need a pry bar and I take the top off, then kind of the panels just kind of come along with it. Unfortunately, the person who built this house did have a tendency to use a lot of glue, so I'm gonna have to be really careful when removing these pieces because the glue can take away part of the drywall, and then I'll have to go and fill in those holes and then finish them, mud them, sand them, paint over them. Hopefully this will be pretty simple to do. So from what I understand, I'm just supposed to take this pry bar and kind of just hammer it into this ledge and then pry it off. Maybe if I try going from underneath it, I got it in, so. Ugh. Oh, it's 2 pieces. Well, I think it's 2 pieces. Ah! Woo! It worked! The last thing I need is for this bottom half not to have like any drywall behind it. That would be just my luck, honestly. It's like all coming off as one piece. Okay, so I got the top layer off and now I'm going to try and take the actual paneling off, and unfortunately I do see some glue in some places, so I'm going to have to be really gentle taking it off. Actually, I wonder if I start in the corner and I take this piece off, if the rest of them are kind of just like cascading, like a domino effect, and I can just get rid of the corner one because usually the corner is the place that's most vulnerable for stuff like this. We got this in behind the panel, and I'm gonna try and pry it loose without damaging the drywall. And it does look like it's not glued completely, so there's some hope. Oh no. Was it built for this? I have another idea. It probably won't work, but basically I'm gonna try and get part of the thing that's like locking them in place off of one of the boards, and then I can just pull one of them off from the middle and do like a middle out type of thing. So we will go in here and kind of break this little part off and take this plank off and then kind of cascade that way. After a lot of trial and error, finally got this piece off, and you can see all of the spots where they used glue. I'm gonna have to sand those down and patch them. But again, I'm just gonna be very happy when it's all done, and it looks a lot better without the paneling. No nursery vibes here. My plan was to continue taking all these off, but I'm getting very tired and it is 8:30, so I think I'm just gonna call it a night here. Again, this was completely like derailment of the plan of getting our master bedroom flooring in because of the whole issue with the banister. So this will probably be pushed to the side once we fix the banister, and then we can continue with the master bedroom like remodel. But for right now, I'm gonna call it a night and kind of convince Kyle to do the rest of this, because as much as I would enjoy the satisfaction of doing it all by myself, Kyle just has more patience than I do. Patience is a virtue I very much do not have. I'm going to kind of acknowledge that and just go watch a new episode of The Boys.